Happy Saturday and welcome to the Ramashram Satsang Weekend Workshop, where you will learn a modern Satsang method for obtaining peace, light, and love in your life. My name is Shivangi and I will be introducing the facilitator for today's event. But first, I would like to give you a brief overview to this Satsang session. If you'll direct your attention to the screen, you will see that the first element is Satsang. Satsang is a scientific method whereby we may obtain peace, light, and love in our lives. It requires no physical skill, spiritual accomplishment, or meditation experience to begin this practice. Satsang consists of two words, Sat and Sang. Sat means positive energy, and Sang means to be with or to be in the presence of. Therefore, the word Satsang means to be in the presence of positive energy. The next element is meditation. Meditation is an important part of Satsang. When we meditate, our consciousness is drawn from worldly objects and directed inward to focus on a single thought. In doing so, our minds become calm and our thoughts become pure, leading us to higher states of consciousness such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. Inner orientation. There are two types of satsangs, inner satsang and outer satsang. An example of outer satsang would be chanting or attending pilgrimages. When we practice outer satsang, we have the potential to change our behavior, but it is only through the practice of inner satsang can we obtain higher states of consciousness, such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. This is the type of satsang we will learn today, where we meditate in silence. Group sessions. These weekend workshops are structured for group participation. When we meditate as a group, our focus is improved and our personal progress along our spiritual path is expedited. By regularly attending these weekend workshops, the benefits of group participation are amplified. Joy and inner happiness. All beings wish to experience joy. Joy is the eternal longing of the soul, but it is only through the practice of inner satsang can we obtain a joyous state. Each time we practice satsang, our inner happiness gradually increases, ultimately culminating in a state of joy that we experience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Next, the agenda for today's session consists of three parts: the informative session, the practice session, and the interactive session. During the informative session, a lecture will be given about a satsang topic, our founder, or some relevant spiritual topic. During the practice session, instruction on how to meditate will be given, followed by a brief period of practice. During the interactive session, you will have the opportunity to ask questions or there will be a panel discussion. And now, I would like to introduce the facilitator for today's event. He has over 40 years of satsang experience. He is the grandson of Guru Maharaj, the founder of Ramashram Satsang Mathura. He was born into a satsang family where he witnessed his family members obtaining states of enlightenment and live lives of peace, light, and love. At an early age, he began traveling with the mission throughout India, facilitating satsangs. During that time, he witnessed the positive effects that satsang could have on mankind. Upon arriving in the United States, both he and his wife continued to facilitate satsangs for local satsangis. He has led teams of satsang members in translating important satsang literature into English and has worked tirelessly to make satsang more accessible to Western and English speaking audiences. He currently travels throughout the United States, India, and England, facilitating satsangs while maintaining his duties as a husband, a father, and an IT executive. Today, he will teach us a rare and ancient form of satsang as taught by our Guru Maharaj. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Sanjeev Kumarji.
Hi, everyone. Good morning, and thank you for joining, and thank you, Shivangi Dee, for hosting. So I'm going to start with our topic as usual, and then I'll have my dad come on and guide us through the meditation. Today's topic is about the path to enlightenment, consisting of two major things in terms of how we, how we present in the world. And those two things are letting go of any form of validation and moving from humbleness to real humility. And so I'm going to take that second part today. We can talk about validation another day. But when it comes to humility, I was actually watching this short on TikTok, and I just want to play it real quick for everybody. And hopefully you can hear it. So just let me know. But it's such a beautiful clip about giving.
Giving then feels a lot like receiving. So when I'm giving my time, it also feels like I'm receiving that time back. When I can continually have that spirit and you have that knowledge of humility. And say, what does humility mean? It means you realize that you are just as weird and terrible as everybody else. I'm no better. I've just been through a lot, still been through a lot. And so I know a lot. And when you have that mindset of, I want to meet and touch every single person, you will always get way more, and for yourself and for the other person, when you can lower yourself to say, hey, we're just humans in a room. How's it going?
So I feel like that's also the essence of satsang, to get to a place where anybody can be part of your family because you know that you've also been through a lot and the journey's not easy, but you're trying to get to this higher state of enlightenment. And it's not that I'm better than anyone for learning how to be alone or how to serve or how to give. It's that I understand that my human is flawed and will make mistakes and get into situations that are meant to teach me. And that becomes the journey of my soul's growth. And what you can often see on a spiritual journey is that as people become more righteous, more, clear on their path, the ego gets a little bit of room to grow. And there's more room for judgment towards others because you become more disciplined. You become more clean in mind and spirit. You don't need things in the material world that you used to need. So then when you see people in earlier stages or even further along stages and you see the struggles, you see, oh, maybe this area is harder for them, or whatever it is, there's room to feel superior. And what humility does is that it grounds you back into your heart. It makes you realize that you too can stumble again at any moment, and to be grateful for your growth, but not attached to it in any way. Not feeling superior, but feeling grateful, feeling more understanding and more compassionate towards others because you too have been through life and you know what it's like to overcome tough situations or judgment or pain or grief or loss. So I love this word humility. Humility connects, while false humility or false humbleness can actually disconnect. So it's just something to watch out for, something to ease into along your journey, not to disconnect, but to connect in healthy ways, which means to realize that your connection with your higher power is the most important. And to embody that higher power is the ultimate journey. But yet, connecting and being a part of this in this world with your relationships, with your jobs, with your identity that you have in this world, and disconnecting in healthy ways and reconnecting in healthy ways is just as important. So the divine is beyond us, is higher than us, is guiding all of us, and yet the divine is within us, and we're discovering that along the journey. And we're also learning how to be a part of this world in new ways every single day. So that's it. Humility, even over humbleness, is the topic today.
Wow. Yeah, so it's something that resonates a lot, because since my childhood, what I have seen in satsang is embodiment of humility in ways that I think, if I look from my perspective, people who were um, leaders, but were so very humble that they would meet you at your level. By doing that, they actually elevated themselves within me, because one, I could connect. Two, um, just that way of interacting and living through, just felt that, it's so, I don't know, it's hard to describe. It's just a, I just felt that their greatness was in their humility. All right, so on that note, let's meditate, and hoping that we all um, achieve higher ground, because on higher ground, the more authentic you become, the more humble you automatically are. Um, so focus inwards, eyes lightly closed, still posture, still and relaxed posture. Because every time we move our body, mind moves with it. Sensory input through the eyes distracts us. Any tension in the body grabs that tension. So all these things help us focus inwards. So eyes slightly closed, still and relaxed posture, and now feel the presence of this transcendental energy, with the source being right here, right now in front of us. And this energy in form of light is entering our heart, enlightening it, and distributing throughout the body. And we are becoming one with this light. We're getting completely and totally immersed in it. We are becoming the light. When mind wanders away, which it will, just bring it back to this thought and this thought alone, that this transcendental energy in form of light is entering our heart, distributing throughout our body, and we are getting completely and totally immersed. We'll start with music, then music fades away, and we go in deep, silent meditation, and we will transition out with music again. Let's start now. So happy Saturday, everyone. It's a great meditation session. Like Parul showed a message, which was great, which was beautiful. So yesterday I was reading one of the articles Guru Maharaj wrote that came out in March 2008 in the Hindi journal that he started in the 30s. That still continues, and the first article is always from his writings. So so if we look at our meditation, we are slowly, gradually turning our heart towards pure, powerful cleansing through embodying the transcendental light. So if we continue doing that, something subtle begins to happen within us. And so as I was reading the article, the visualization was that what it brings is an inner dawn. So, in the beginning of this article, he starts describing that over time, the heart becomes covered with dust. And that is through old impressions, long, carried through habits, those reactions, fears, attachments, and the worldly conditioning because of the culture we live in. So a covering gathers within us. And when this dust, so he refers it to dust. So when this dust gathers, it hides the inner light. So he says the light is present, but this dust, covers it. And when the light is covered, the darkness is felt. And then comes the confusion, fear, restlessness, and we lose clarity because of lack of light. And that is, the intellect doesn't see things clearly. And slowly, even small things start to trouble us. And we inwardly feel burdened, scattered, and uneasy. So Guru Maharaj says that this practice, so, what you see here is like there are no, rituals, and so many other things which you will find in other practices. He says we have a very simple goal and a simple process. So to remove this dust, this covering, and allow the light to spread again within, that's the essence and that's the focus. And then he goes on in this article to say that there are many, many, many paths to spiritual life, spiritual progress, many methods, many disciplines, many forms of worship, many techniques. Some people follow posture and breath. Another repeat a divine name, chanting. Someone prays. Someone goes to a pilgrimage. Another one listens to sacred music or scripture. Some follow silence, devotion, concentration. So he says outwardly, these paths look different, but inwardly, at the end of the day, it is about purifying the heart, quietening the mind, and restoring the inner light. So that is why the great ones do not casually reject, this path versus that. Different methods help different temperaments, different personalities. So, some paths are longer, some are more difficult, some are, but some use a lot of constraints and restraints. Some just focus more on calming and purifying the mind. Some build endurance. Some awakens subtle strengths. So everything has its own place. So choose your path which helps you move towards the goal. The destination, according to him, is one, and not every road is equally helpful to every traveler. So there are different, paths, and because some folks, they like more difficult disciplines. Some like more direct and natural way. So there is no virtue in making the path harder than it needs to be. Just a sincere and, integrating that into your routine, your life. And the purpose is just to bring light into the heart. And, so from noise to stillness, from agitation to repose, from scattering to centering, and from darkness to light. So that would be, inner dawn. And I think the way we practice, the way we embody this transcendental light, what we are working towards and what we are waiting for and what we are already enjoying for some of us is the inner dawn. Just, the light appears, and a lot of this, just, the beauty is that as soon as the light arrives, there is no darkness. So let's just continue to work towards that. On that note, let's open it up. I was thinking that the guidance for post meditation should be that your video should be on, you should be ready with a question. You should serve yourself by serving others, and that is to interact. After meditation, what you share will be, it will be a service. So on that note, Paro and others, Hi, Biju. How are you?
Good. That's good. Okay. That's a very interesting topic. And I remember couple of weeks ago, we spoke about this comparisons and we discussed, and it's the same thoughts come to my mind again as I discussed last time. Humility, is it the ones who have those qualities who go to strength, or is it that they get to that strength and then the humility is because like was said in the discussion earlier, people who get to a certain level means yes, they're so, at least I see them humble. I don't know how much about humility, but I've seen so many individuals who get to that stage and level, and the ones who are always comparing, or the ones who have those egos, they tend to remain where they are. And so it's always that chicken and egg question that some of these topics are, again, as I said last time, are not easy to, for me at least, it's not easy to figure out which comes first.
I don't know. I mean, in Gita and what I have heard and even to some degree experienced is, it's like, let's say I am traveling, and for a lack of better explanation, it's like I'm traveling from a less lighted space to a more lighted space. And my travel goes on. At some point, there is a tipping point where I feel I am in light. To me, it is like if you continue a practice like this, you are basically rewiring your brain. Now neuroscience is talking about neuroplasticity and stuff like that. And so what happens is that there will be a point where, suddenly you realize that, hey, I am, more clearer in my head in terms of my purpose in life and things like that. And so Gita refers to it as Ritambara Buddhi. And the state is called Sthit Pragya, which is you get a very still and grounded space from an intellect perspective. So then you don't have to ask anyone. You feel that. Till then, you can read, you can imagine, you can, see the differences, but you don't experience it. So what you're asking is that when do I feel this way? There is a point when, so in the 5 realms that I talk about, it's like at some point in the top of the 3rd realm and somewhere within the 4th realm, this is like a switch. And as soon as the switch goes off, it's like I was in a room, it was not very well lit, but suddenly somebody switches on the light and I can see everything so clearly. Never thought that all these things were in that room where I was. And that's how it is. So, I don't know if that makes sense.
No, thanks. It becomes clearer every time I speak and I discuss this. Just like you said, when the more we do this, then the more you whenever you speak, and even last time when you spoke, there are some things that clicks at some point, and it just gets it more clear for me. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, does make sense. Thank you.
Yeah, it's our task here is to, you know, get to that point. So yes, it's a destination, and we clearly define our destination. Then the chances that we'll go here or there will be, so your focus on going on the right path will be there. But what we need is that state. So what I'm trying to say is that even before you go all the way to the destination, there is a point where which this. So if I was going, I mean, and just because of your question, I think this illustration kind of came on that I'm traveling from a very dark to a very bright place, and it's dark, and it's getting, I see the light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing, and then there is a little more light, and at some point it feels like dawn, right? It's not noon yet, but that dawn is very, very clearly a beautiful thing. So internally you feel that, wow, something has changed, and that does happen.
Thank you again. Thanks. Interesting. Interesting.
It's yeah, till you get to that point, it's but again, I mean, it's not that we just wait for that, because if we don't continue to clearly define our destination, the chances are that we might go this way or that way, right? So it's quite a task, and that is why from the ancient times and even till today, I mean, when I look at consultants, the whole idea is, okay, I want to learn something new. I want to introduce something new in the corporate environment, and personally, physical strength, physical, personal, trainers and all. It's like things become easier if you have someone who has been there, done that. So that is why the role of guru in the Indian context is kind of, blown out of proportions, but for a reason in some ways. But I think what they learn early on is that is one, like so many paths, this is a faster, shorter path. The whole premise that Guru Maharaj starts with is, but for his guru, he did so many things before he met Dada Guru, so much, and he said his journey was just on and on and on, and then the dawn came. So he actually, very interestingly, we were talking about this, and the first lesson that Dada Guru Maharaj gave Guru Maharaj, what he described later on, he said, I started you from the fourth realm. So it's just, those days, I think it was just heavy duty, concentrated dose, I guess. And so sometimes, as you were talking about this catch-22, it's like, do we not, have that embodiment, or we're not prepared, or culturally we are so off? It's the same process. So why does it take that long? Sometimes I feel Guru Maharaj did so much work beforehand, so maybe that was the prep, or maybe you know, he was wired in certain ways already through, but then the tipping point comes at some point. We have to work towards that. Yeah. It's fascinating. Actually, every time I think that I have learned a little more about the process, another question comes from someone or from within. It's like, wow, how do you explain this now? And my fascination with neuroscience is continuing to grow because parts of the answers now we have very explainable answer, but I think there is plenty that will take ages to explain, because I mean, even after so much of research, I think we have just started. We are in infancy of understanding of our own brain.
Very true.
And on that note, Arvindji pops up. He's like, okay, this is my cue.
Namaskar, Bhaiya. Happy Saturday, everybody. Very fortunate to join. Don't feel like speaking at all because, when somebody gives you, let's say, 7 Up, everybody's used to 7 Up, and no one's tried Dr. Pepper. And somebody suddenly gives you this drink that's Dr. Pepper. How do you explain to everybody who's having 7 Up that Dr. Pepper is different? Well, how is it different? Now explain to me. So I think this satsang and meditation is beyond words and explanation. And the best of neuroscience, as you rightly said, is very much in its infancy. All I can just briefly remember Param Puji Papaji's selfless love and grace. And those things, I just think Guru Maharaj brought on this earth for the rest of us to imbibe. And as you rightly said, the light in the switch and how it dispels the darkness. How does one? There's no words. But in terms of neuroscience, physical neuroscience, everybody knows if I get a stroke and my physiotherapist, lets me practice, certain exercises, and one fine day I find, oh, I can now lift my right arm up. And that's physical neuroplasticity. And this spiritual neuroplasticity, I suspect happens because of new neuronal pathways open in the brain, and the new channels open, and the prefrontal cortex strengthens, all that. But that's all the ripples of satsang. The primary power, the spiritual, nobody and no neuroscience can explain the source. So let's not try to explain the source. Let's just experience it, I think, humbly.
Well, yeah. So, Ajita, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Bhaiya, and thanks for checking with me. I actually have something that I want to ask. I'm not sure I'm able to articulate it that well, but it's a great topic, humility. And sometimes, as I'm reflecting, I'm thinking that it's a great virtue to have, but maybe sometimes I exhibit because I want to be liked by a person, because it's a good, it's like looks good to have this virtue. So just thinking how to like not let this sort of like desire to overpower one's behavior, that one wants to look that they have humility and they sort of empathize with the other person just because they want like the other person to like you, but have humility for like the real reason, because that's of the real realization.
Paru, do you want to go on that one first?
Validation is at the core of human experience. So when you want someone to like you, you're still looking outside of yourself for validation. And satsang is kind of teaching you that there's a higher power, a higher source, a higher connection. So then the process of satsang itself is kind of humbling, because why are you looking to other people to like you? Why are you looking to other people to give you compliments? Why are you looking to other people to even, validate you in any way? So humility is kind of taking validation out of it. And then you look at the person in front of you and you're just there with your higher power, your higher connection, there to connect. Rather than what can I get out of this experience, it becomes I'm here, I'm connected, and I'm present. Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely makes sense. But I also feel it's very hard to get let go of
Well, yeah,
validation.
of course. That's kind of what
Yes.
the experience is showing you. Oh my gosh, I still want this person to like me. New lesson unlocked.
But I always go on a tangent, so let me do that. So while Ajita was asking, a picture or some, so this was when I was in New York. I was working for a corporate hat, and I won't explain that further. Um, uh, and he was a very interesting person. So one day I was standing by the elevator, and he was there too. And here comes the janitor, and he is this big gun, and he says, "No, please, you first." And I'm like, wow, this is so amazing. This guy is so up there, and he is like, but unfortunate thing is that I knew him in another way, where he unchallengedly, fired several hundred people. And I'm like, is this a humble guy? It's like I am so torn when I see those two. So it's the same person, and here I see one approach, and there I see another approach. And would I call him humble? Not really, right? So it's like the same thing. If we are doing a demonstration of humility for another purpose, that's not real humility to me. That's, be it validation, be it for whatever other reason. I become humble to gain something, even if it is, a public's appreciation of, how kind I am.
Yeah. I think, again, it's just that thing of like ego gets in everywhere. Until if you have an identity, you will have to deal with ego.
So for most of us, it is that.
No, but then it's like when you're in that interaction and she's aware, now she has awareness. So that's another level that people don't have. Awareness is another level. So then, okay, now I'm here. I see that I want this person to like me. Now you have a chance to be humility, not for humbleness, but just to say, okay, let me just put myself in this person's shoes for a little bit, be with them, be with the divine while I'm here. Boom. And it's like, okay, did I want something? Yes, but you can shift that.
Wow. a different perspective here, I guess.
But also, like, as you're talking, it's like the purpose of satsang is to feel that everybody is a family member. And again, like, you know, when I was watching The Chosen, when I've heard Guru Maharaj's journey, it's like they chose to spread this message to people in poverty. So it's that in and of itself is to be full of humility, because you're not looking at the most accomplished person, or you're not looking at, you know, someone who has status already. There's a level of respect there. But then when it's like when we go to everyone with the same level of respect, that's kind of to be full of humility
Yep,
to me.
absolutely. I think that's what I meant when
Yeah.
said that what I have seen in the leaders here is a very uncommon approach to, somewhere I was reading that when you go to higher states, one of the characteristics that becomes you is harmlessness. And that was a very strange word for me to attach to somebody who is very accomplished. Harmlessness. So what I translated that to is their how accessible they are. So wherever they are at, how accessible they are. So accessible that anybody can reach them is true harmlessness, right? So everybody feels that I am, able to connect with them, reach them, because they're so harmless. So that was a very interesting term to use, but I think I can relate with that. It's and I think harmlessness and humility is connected, because people with power, can they be harmless? Right? That's the question here. Because as soon as you get power, you knowingly or unknowingly start exerting that power. It can be intellectual power even, right? And that uh, takes away the harmlessness. And when that is taken away, people, there becomes a distance. People cannot reach you, connect with you, or feel comfortable in your presence. But when you take that guard down, then you're humble, you're harmless, you're accessible, reachable. And that is what I saw. I mean, Papaji would be, um, you know, traveling throughout Bihar, and everybody just feels like uh, he has come for them, you know. So that's, yeah. Yeah, Arvindji, I think you're ready to wrap up the session. Oh, you are muted. Sorry. Whatever you.
Banube, I also had a question.
Oh,
How do you develop humility once you begin this journey? That just happens naturally.
so what's the question?
So once you begin this journey, how do you develop humility? But I think it's kind of inbuilt into the journey.
Yeah, this is like love. You don't, just suddenly start loving everybody. It's like first you have to realize that you're so integral to the environment and to everybody, and you are part of the same family, means that you're all we are interconnected so deeply. Um, Once that realization comes, which doesn't come till you get to that tipping point that we were discussing earlier. So it's you know, yeah, as I think what you're saying is it's a byproduct of the progress that you make towards the goal. So you don't have to reach the goal, but at some point it kind of starts showing up, right? So like intuition or inner voice, we have lots of different thoughts and write-ups and recordings and all that in our brain, but eventually the true inner voice, the inner conscience, becomes strong enough to show up during or after, or outside of the meditation even. And that, so it's like it's an arrow. As you grow higher, it increases, and then a tipping point comes when it's more visible, it's more, audible, and then it continues from there. So yeah, Arvindji.
No, thank you. Just fortunate to join you. Was just remembering Puji Papaji's words that this satsang enables us to surrender man ke vichar, thoughts of one's mind, the thoughts in one's mind, buddhi ka gyan, the intellect. The more we engage our intellect, actually, I think the more we distance ourselves from that spiritual energy entering us, and making that change we need to make internally. Man ke vichar, buddhi ka gyan, chit ki vrittya, the desires that we have, the aspirations that we have, chit ki vrittya, sharir ke kam, the actions that we do, and ahankar, finally the ego. So this meditation eventually enables us to drop those, to be able to imbibe that Guru Maharaj's transcendental energy. So we're fortunate to be here, and I cannot count my blessings. There's no way one can count one's blessings for something like this. So thank you.
All right. On that note, glad that we were here in Satsang, and love, light, and peace be with you. So let's be together in Satsang again soon. Till then. Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Namaskar, Bhaiya. Hello, Parul. Namaskar, everyone.
Namaskar.
Namaskar, Bhaiya.
Namaste, Bhaiya. Hi, everyone.
Namaskar. Bye, Jeff. Bye, Thuru.
Bye.
Bye. Rajat, Renuji.
Namaskar, Bhaiya.
Namaste, Bhaiya Bhabi.
हाँ नमस्कार दीपाली
प्रणाम भैया।
नमस्कार।